Got your New Year's plans all figured out? We're only 2 days away from ringing in 2018, and New York already gearing up for the big night. This year's main concerns are security and the freezing cold weather.
Fox News' Brian Yennis is in Times Square in the heart of all the action.
The NYPD says this will be the most secure this event has ever been, and they specify there is no specific or credible threat against Times Square or New York City on New Year's Eve.
You will see an increase in heavy weapons, bomb squad personnel, radiological detection teams, and our technology to include over 1,000 cameras in and around the area of Times Square for the event.
Among the extra security, there will be uniformed police officers in every single hotel overlooking Times Square, a response to the worst mass shooting in U.S. history in Las Vegas. There will also be vaporwave dogs sniffing out bombs in the air and on people. Sand trucks that will be positioned along Times Square to prevent vehicular attacks. Also, more emphasis on rental cars and trucks to do so as well. There will also be multiple checkpoints for people that are coming out here. They're expecting over 1 million revelers here on Sunday night. All of this as preparations continue. The ball is set. The numbers are also set. And yesterday was Good Riddance Day, where people actually got to write down their worst memories of the 2017, rip it and tear it and move on to 2018. Frigid temperatures are expected. It could be 11 degrees as the forecast, which could make it the second coldest day ever on New Year's Eve in New York City. As far as the temperatures, officials say it's up to people whether they want to come out here. They do expect hundreds of thousands, maybe over 1 million people to be here. There are no other precautions being taken other than extra ambulances that will be on site, as hypothermia and frostbite are very real threats in this type of weather. Lauren, Leah.
And here to weigh in on what's being done and how to stay safe is former member of the FBI National Joint Terrorism Task Force, Steve Rogers. Steve, good morning.
Good morning to you.
So we are seeing this massive presence of law enforcement. Can you share with us, though, what we are not going to be seeing, what's happening behind the scenes to keep people safe?
Well, to begin with, I could assure you that New York City is going to be the safest place on planet Earth come New Year's Eve. The preparation for this actually begins weeks after the prior New Year's. It begins with after-action reports. It begins with an analysis of some people who were arrested that you never saw last year, with intelligence and information gathering over the past year. So the things you will not see are all those things such as the intelligence and information gathering. There are tremendous amount, probably over 1,000 undercover agents, undercover detectives that will be on the streets. Obviously, we'll see uniformed personnel, which certainly act as a deterrence. But the key here is what you don't see is what really is very, very important. And the most, what's very, very important is if you see something, say something. We've said that over and over again, and I've also added something else to that. If you sense something, S-E-N-S-E, if you sense something, if your instinct is telling you that there's something here that's not right, let someone know.
You know, Steve, you mentioned New York is going to be the safest place on earth and clearly such a huge security presence. And you're saying if you sense something, say something. I bring this up because there are going to be celebrations around the country in smaller cities that are softer targets because they're not going to have as much of a law enforcement presence. So are you concerned at all about these smaller cities being better targets?
Well, I could tell you that since we've had the creation of Joint Terrorism Task Force in every state, in every county, in many of these states, all of that intelligence and information is being widely shared. I'm not too concerned about the smaller towns as I used to be, because I now know that the FBI, which I'll tell you is the greatest law enforcement agency on the surface of this planet. I mean, they work very hard in sharing a lot of information at times like this. So I think we could rest easy knowing that we're in good hands.
You mentioned the JTTF and how it's established in different places around the country. Can you help us understand the role of the JTTF and how it helps protect those smaller cities?
Sure. You know, I was one of the first military intelligence officers after 9/11 that was assigned to the National Joint Terrorism Task Force at FBI headquarters. And prior to that time, there was little information sharing. CIA, NSA, FBI would really not share information with each other or anyone in law enforcement down the local level. But now, with the creation of the National Joint Terrorism Task Force in the early 2000s, JTTFs have grown all over the country. And the information and intelligence, for example, that a police department may get in Los Angeles will go to New York. New York will send it to every police agency in that state, no matter how big, no matter how small. So this is very important that it keeps us safe.
Real quick, we just have about 10 seconds, but I want to ask you, that keeps us safe when we have the intelligence. What about the lone wolf? The ones who aren't connected necessarily that we wouldn't have intelligence on?
We will never be able to prevent everything. There's always a crack that somebody might go through. But I've got to tell you that as long as people are vigilant and they see something, sense something, say something, that'll stop a lone wolf.
See something, sense something, say something. Thank you very much, Steve Rogers.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Speaking of, have plans? What are you doing for New Year's Eve?